So, hello everyone. My name is Dat Tirula, and I'm associate partner at Deloitte Legal. And I'm here together with my client, and with our very good client, from that perspective that they are very constructive and open-minded. So my colleague, lawyer, Christine Absolone, is also here. If you have any questions during the presentation or after it, then Christina will be able to answer these questions on behalf of the Latvian State Roads. And if you have any questions, I will be also available to answer them. To start with, I was with very big interest listening to the previous section when we had this discussion on the sustainable financing. So it was really interesting to hear all those views, and what I am doing in my day-to-day working life is that I am leading Baltic practice of energy and sustainability. And Baltic practice is included in the European practice of Deloitte, and I have two comments to return to Dirk's question. First is sustainable financing is actually not anymore a trend, but already a must in Western Europe. So Deloitte has helped several credit institutions to move to this sustainable financing. And it has taken approximately some 4 to 5 years. But which is the most interesting comment is that Deloitte actually helped McDonald's in France to become sustainable. And so this brand is never associated with sustainability if you speak about McDonald's outside France. And so to change perception of McDonald's, to change mindset of people using these products, it took Deloitte to consult McDonald's on this particular one issue for 12 years. So changing of mindset is number one to get to sustainable financing. And another thing is that you have to start with financing exactly to change things, how they happen in the world. So this is my comment for those issues which we heard before. Why I am here to present this project is that I'm representing Deloitte in giving legal consultations on this Kekava bypass project. And again, it is an issue of sustainable financing. So the sustainability of this project is never being advertised, never being publicly discussed due to the request from clients, so I will not go forward with it. But I can assure you, sustainability aspects are in. So to start with, we are usually today, whenever we have a small talk with any one of you, the first question is that when is the date? And to be very honest, and to be equally honest to all of you, the date was 2 weeks ago. So we, together with our client, together with the Ministry of Transport, actually were prepared to announce the tender 2 weeks ago. Why it is not being done is just we are coping with some, we hope, very tiny and minor administrative formalities outside these three institutions. So we hope to launch it still by the end of October. As recently today asked by our client, we have to make a statement that irrespective of what was said during the first session in the morning, our client feels it has done the homework, it has done it very well, and they are prepared to go forward. So actually they feel they are the first ones being brave enough to actually jump into this type of project, to go forward with it already for a year and a half, to plan it, to structure it. And we have been together with our client. We have seen this work happening. We have participated in it. And so we can confirm that, again, similarly as with sustainable financing, The most important issue is open mind when you approach these types of projects. So what is important here is that recently, at the beginning of September, we were having the second open day for the Kekava bypass project. Open day was organized in a form that we had individual meetings with all those who registered and expressed interest to see us. So initially, we planned 2 full days with meetings. We ended up with full 4 days of meetings. We were having a marathon of 18 meetings. Each was at least an hour and a half long. So we were discussing all of these issues, all of these principles, and everything about the tender, which I will shortly give information to you. And most of the participants were foreign companies. And during these meetings, our client received compliments that this actually is one of the PPP projects of such a good quality at this stage, shortly before announcement. So I think that I have helped my client to actually turn around what was said during the first half of the day here. I would really appreciate that you consider this before making your conclusions. And now we go forward with the project overview. So I will not discuss in very much detail everything on this slide. So it simply shows the place where we hope to see the new road. For those who like driving cars, I can already disclose this is going to be the first road in Latvia where the official speed limit is expected to be 120 kilometers per hour. So quite a nice thing for those who drive on Latvian roads. If we speak about the project in very big lines, then this type of contract is structured as DBFM, so it means that there will be no tolls, no payments by drivers, so everything will be paid by the government, but it will be paid in the form of availability payments. So availability period is 20 years, and it cannot be extended even if you complete construction earlier than 3 years. So this is the resolution of our Cabinet of Ministers, and we simply have to live with it. So client, for the purposes of our agreement, and also public partner in the public procurement and public-private partnership agreement will be Ministry of Transport. However, all of the functions, organizational things and matters will be performed by Latvian State Roads based on the delegation. So another thing which is very peculiar about this project is that according to the resolution of Cabinet of Ministers, this project should be off-balance sheet treatment project, not only at the moment when it is entered into, but it should stay as off-balance sheet project for the whole period of its life cycle, of its validity. So, in fact, when starting to do this work and when undertaking this assignment, we were very much relying on the Belgian PPP experience, which is accumulated by Deloitte Belgium office. But that was the thing which actually differentiated our project so much from the Belgian project that we had to look for innovative solutions. We had to deviate from Belgian practice on several issues because of this mandatory requirement. So we have now structured the agreement. Agreement has already received official statement from Eurostat confirming that this off-balance sheet treatment is actually applicable to this agreement. And if we keep the agreement like it is, this treatment will be maintained for all 23 years. So according to Eurostat, this is the first opinion given by them of such scale and of such long-term promise. So timeline, as you see, we are now at the stage where we have to announce the procurement. As I said, we are ready to do it, so we are just waiting for some formalities to take place. As soon as they do, we will announce the procurement, and we expect that qualification phase could still be performed this year. And we will go into detail about the procurement on following slides. And here you can see that we expect to get contract ready in 2020. And that would be the time when we have financial close and we can proceed with the construction works. Sorry. Yeah, so key principles here for the approach to the PPP agreement and to this public tender. It is structured in that way that we are not saying exactly how you should plan your work, how you should make your estimations and how you should make emphasis during the process. But there is just one thing which should be kept in mind when preparing for this tender. So it's not just a PPP about 3 periods of construction and 20 years of maintenance, but this PP on purpose includes very strict requirements on handback. And if we look at the technical requirements to the bypass, which are for a longer time already available at the web page of Latvian state roads, then the main emphasis is exactly on the handback requirements. And handback requirements are considered so that after this period of 20 years maintenance, the government is looking for receiving back a road which is very close to a new one. It means that shortly before the end of PPP contract, reconstruction works should be performed, and 5-year maintenance, or sorry, not maintenance, but 5-year warranty should be given that this road will be standing after the PPP ends. So it is for the private partner to decide whether you invest more in construction works at the beginning and spend less on maintenance during the 20 years, or you do vice versa. So it's up to you to decide. We are not giving instructions on this. We are simply making emphasis on the end result which we are looking for. And at this moment, it is really important to stress that we are not buying that road which will be standing there in 3 years, but we are buying that road which will be standing there in 23 years. Procurement process. So this is a timeline most probably seen by most of you during the open days. Procurement procedure is this procedure with negotiations, competitive negotiations, and we have split this procurement in 2 parts. So qualification is announced first. Those who qualify will receive the second package, which is for the award phase. So to qualify, we will be actually looking at the profile of companies applying. So again, we are not giving any instructions or posing any limitations on nationality or other aspects of the companies. So this could be consortiums, this could be simple construction companies, or whichever is the solution you choose. What is important is that you have PPP experience. It will be a mandatory requirement. What is important is that you have ability to attract financing. And what is important is that you have main experts in place to advise you during implementation of the PPP contract. So When the qualification phase will take place, there will be no limitation on the number of those who qualify. As I said, awarding procurement package will be distributed to everyone who qualifies. And this awarding package will not be publicly available to everyone who is interested. Awarding package will be the first one to which draft PPP agreement will be attached. So whenever you receive this award package, you receive also full draft PPP agreement. Then you proceed to preparing your first quote. And as you can see, first quote includes technical part, financial part, and also there will be 4 plans to be described which relate to the project management issues. Valuation criteria will be one and the same for the first quote and for BAFO. So 80% go for the financial part and 20% go for the technical part. After the first quote is evaluated, we will select 3 tenderers who have received the highest score, and we will invite them to take part in negotiations. Everyone else will be offered with the possibility to stay in the fridge option. So whenever we are asked what is fridge option, answer is absolutely easy and self-evident. We simply want to keep you fresh for the moment if someone from the first 3 drops off the negotiations. So that company which will be included in the fridge option and had the highest score will be invited to take part in negotiations in case someone of the 3 drops off. Fridge option is nothing mandatory, so it will be your choice whether you join it or not. So during negotiation phase, we will be discussing your suggested technical solution, and based on these discussions, we will also be discussing your financial model, and we will be discussing PPP contract. It should be noted that PPP contract, as I said before, should keep the soft balance sheet treatment for the whole period of time. So from this it follows that there are 5 sections of the PPP contract which are absolutely closed for any negotiations. All the rest sections, approximately 18, are open, so you can lead negotiations on them with the only limitation that any of your requests cannot change the soft balance sheet treatment. And so when we have completed negotiations, when we have a list of instructions prepared for each of the 3 tenderers, we issue them to the tenderers, and we ask them to prepare best and final offer. And as you see, valuation of best and final offer has the same weight of valuation, so it's again 80 for financial and 20 for technical part. And whenever the decision is taken, whenever we identify who is the preferred bidder, there is one thing which we want to make a special announcement and pause here. At this moment, all of the qualification criteria which relate to the financing will be checked repeatedly. So you have to understand that this whole process, as I was showing previously, so this whole process of tender takes approximately a year, even a bit more. So if we check your financial stability during the qualification phase, it is not enough for the financiers to be sure that you have the same stability at the end of procurement. So we will be checking this issue twice, shortly before announcement of the preferred bidder. Qualification phase So all of this information is already available in the open day materials, which are available at the Latvian State Road homepage. I will not be going through them in very much detail, but what is of importance during the qualification is that we will be looking at requirements on economical and financial stability and viability of the candidate. We will be looking at the ability to attract funding. We will be looking whether you have sufficient qualified experts to help. And also, we will be looking for the experience in PPP projects. When we move forward to the award phase will be the longest one, and we are aware of the fact that in order to submit the initial tender, actually a document very close to the final design of bypass will be required, except signatures from institutions, except signatures from those institutions which have to give their harmonization, but otherwise this is very close to full bypass design. So being aware of the costs, we have checked this approach against European practice and PPPs, and this is something we have identified as regular practice. So this is our approach, which differs from what we have been saying previously, is that at the end of negotiations, and at the time when we announce who is the preferred bidder, financial due diligence performed by the financiers will start immediately, and we will not be entering into PPP agreement with the private partner until the financial close is reached. So during the financial due diligence, financiers will be offered with the possibility to go through the PPP agreement, and they will be granted with the possibility to ask for some amendments to the agreement which relate to their ability to grant financing. So it doesn't mean that financier can come and change technical requirements which are not related to the financing, but if they can tell us how these technical requirements relate to the financing, then this is an issue we can discuss. So when we have final wording of the PPP agreement, we actually proceed to signing of it, and so financial close and contract close will take place on one and the same date. And in case there was a negative resolution from the financiers, we have envisaged the possibility that we would go back to the company which received the second highest rank during the valuation of Buffalo. And however, in case even the second one was failing with the financiers, then that would be it. We would not be going back to the third one. So we really hope that we will not have to use this option. So these are the awarding phase criteria. We cannot disclose them currently because we are so close to announcement of tender, but you can see what is the logic driven behind awarding phase criteria. So as I said, we will be first giving 80% of valuation to the price. Then we will have this technical and project management part evaluated. So we are interested in having availability date within the 3-year period granted by the Cabinet of Ministers. So if anyone offered us to build the road in a term which exceeds 3 years, it will be 0-point valuation. But everything else I cannot disclose currently about the valuation of this particular aspect. If we look at the 4 plans which we have to prepare during this tender, These 4 plans will form annexes of the PPP agreement. So our kind suggestion to anyone considering to participate in this tender, and considering that writing of plans is quite easy and can be done overnight, you can do it, sure, but you will have to live with it. So since these will be annexes to the contract, you will simply have to perform what you promised during the tender. And this availability date also, if you promised it here in the tender, it will be inserted in the PPP agreement and you will be required to comply with it. So we have now come to the final slide, and if you have any questions and answers regarding this particular project and this particular procurement, I'm here to answer, and Christina is here to answer, and Christina has a small comment to make. Okay?
Sure.
Hold on for a second. I think, hold on. The mics are just slowly coming to life. Yes. That's excellent. Thank you.
So Data has perfectly embraced all the key issues and more. And the only thing I would like to draw your attention is about the price. So what we really do expect is that the price submitted for the second offer, the so-called buffer, is the same as you submitted for the first buffer or for the first offer, except for it only can go down due to the issues discussed specifically during the negotiations. The only case when we expect that the price might go up is if the contracting authority really makes amendments to the technical requirements, and in that case that would apply to all the bidders. So this is something to keep in mind. Okay.
Yeah, except with the financing component, because part of the interest rate you will be able to change at the final close. Financial close.
So, is there any question in respect of Kekava bypass PPP project, which is now in the final days before being launched? No, not at the moment. Yes, please. Then let's wait for the microphone.
One question about the availability date. Will it be given as days counted from ending of the dialogue or a certain date? Because in some part we do not have full control on the length of the dialogue.
So when preparing for the initial tender, when preparing your first quote and buffer, you will be asked to give a number of dates counted as of the financial close. So the date of financial close is day number 1, and then you should give your estimation within how many days you will complete. So you do not have to combine this availability date with any date during the procurement process.